Next, let's have a look at how to edit pages. From the dashboard, you'll notice the option in the menu at left for pages. If you wish to create a brand new one, you can either go into all pages and then add new, or you can select add new from the menu that appears when you hover on pages. Either will work. For now, let's go to all pages and actually pull up an existing page and check out that edit process, and then we'll take a look at add new. Now, when you come into your list of pages, you'll see that you have an alphabetical list, which is also organized in groupings. For example, on your About menu, you have options for Administrative Handbook, Board of Directors, Contact Us, etc. We've actually organized those into groups so that they're easier to manage and easier to see in the list. You'll also notice that you have currently, at the time of this recording, 89 pages. That's very likely to grow as the site is launched and you begin developing new content. Now, to edit a page, you can come to the page and hover over it, and you'll notice that when you hover, you actually get a menu of options that comes up. To edit, let's go ahead and click Edit. Now you'll notice that there's a quick edit, but that only gives you a few different options to edit about more of the characteristics of the page rather than the content on the page. For example, you could change the title, you could change the parent, the page under which it falls, but for the most part, you're going to be editing the content, so quick edit doesn't produce a lot of value. So I'm going to cancel that, and instead I'm going to click on Edit once again. Now this will actually bring up the page itself for editing. Now you'll notice that this one's a little different. It has a table structure that's been added. For the most part, if you see a table or something like this on the page, try not to edit that too much because it will throw off the content. Of course, you could hover in and just change the phone number or the address. That's no problem at all. But for the most part, you want to keep the structure solid and like it is. This also has a gravity form installed. So this page is a little different, but it's a good example of what you might find when you reach a page for editing. For example, right here you'll notice that we've inserted gravity form with the name of Contact Us. Now that's managed elsewhere, and you'll find this a lot within WordPress, that you'll create a piece of content somewhere else and then place it into a page or into a widget. This form would actually not be managed here on this page, but if you needed to make edits to it, you would choose the Forms option within the dashboard, find the Contact Us form, and you would edit it there. So just be aware that you might need to become more aware of where things are found and inserted into the page. So let's actually leave this page because it's a bit atypical. So to get back, you can actually just click on All Pages again, or you could hit your back button. Either will work. So let's just choose a different one that we know is just more text-based. For example, the mission statement. Let's go ahead and hit Edit. And you'll see that this is a very straight text page. It doesn't have a lot of characteristics because it is simple in nature. It doesn't have tables, it doesn't have forms, it's just text on the page. So it's a good example of what you might find on a typical page. Now you'll notice that you do have the verbiage here, and above it you have a bar of options. Now this is where you're going to edit the bulk of the style of your content. And you can also add different features into your page using these buttons. We'll cover media in another video, but you can add media, you can insert a slide deck, which is that sliding, rotating feature on your home page. You can add a form. On that other page we just looked at, there was a Contact Us form. You could create a new one and add it to your page or add an existing one. You can actually see that you can do bold, italicized, strike through, some of the typical, bulleted, numbered bullets, some of the typical things that you might find within any kind of text editor. You'll also notice that there are some icons here that might not look familiar. This Show Hide Kitchen Sink, this one's quite valuable. Notice what happens if I select it. My options disappear. So if you need a little bit more real estate on the page for any reason, you can actually do what's called Hide the Kitchen Sink, but we'll go ahead and expand it because we want to see all of those different options. I could add a next gen gallery. Now we'll cover next gen also in another video, but this is another example where you might create something, for example, down here in the gallery options, and then insert it onto the page. You can add a WordPress file base document. Now WordPress file base is also found in your menu. And again, you'll get that idea that you've got lots of menu options that you can call into a page when you need them. WordPress file base is where we've kept the fairly significant number of documents that you have for the Virginia Native Plant Society. Rather than just storing them in your media library, we went ahead and added that more sophisticated product for the management of files. So you can actually insert a document or a set of documents from WP File Base onto the page. And you can also insert what's called a TablePress table. Another option that we've installed is TablePress, because not everybody has a lot of comfort with HTML, but you might want to be able to use tables on your page. And TablePress is an absolutely outstanding way to do that. You can add a new table in TablePress. You can set up the number of columns that you want. You can add the data that you want, and then insert that table onto your WordPress page, and it looks like someone had very sophisticated HTML knowledge. It's a great kind of shortcut to get a sophisticated look to your page. So that's another option. Now, one of the biggest things to note is that when you're going to edit text on the page and add style to it, you're not going to add custom font sizes and colors. You're actually going to use what's called heading styles. Now, let me go ahead and create a new page to illustrate that for you so that we don't edit this existing page. So right from here, I can either go to Pages, Add New, or right at the top of the page, I can hit Add New. And I'm going to choose this option, but either one will work. So now I have a brand new page that we can use just for this training exercise. So let me call this training page 1. And I want to show you these heading styles. So I'm going to actually type heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 5. Okay. Now, by headings, we mean style sets. So heading 1 has a different font size and color than heading 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Now, we did this so that you have consistency all throughout the website. If you had folks that were setting up their own colors and font sizes throughout the site, it would have a very non-uniform look. And uniformity is very important on a website. So what we've done is actually programmed sort of in the back end in what's called the CSS or the style sheet, which is editable, but we would ask that you have someone like Jen Trong or Web Strategies change that for you. But we actually programmed in that heading 1 would have a particular font size and color. Now you won't see the color on this page. You see that when you preview the page. But let's go ahead and add all the headings and you can take a look at what they look like. Oops, that should be heading 3. WordPress is very forgiving. If you make a mistake, you can just go back and edit. Now it does go down to heading 6, but I don't think we've actually programmed that far because we didn't need that many headings. So we'll just go down to heading 5. Now let's see what this looks like. First of all, you'll notice over here where you have your save options, you have preview. This will open it up in a new tab so you can just have a look at what the document looks like before you commit it to the WordPress page. Now you'll notice right now that heading 1 is very large and in a black font. Heading 2 and 3 are something of a purple color that go with your navigation bar. Heading 4 and 5 are also black, but they have different font sizes. These can be different fonts. It's very stylable. Now you notice we're having a little bit of an issue right now. Remember, we're still in testing, but this will be corrected before we launch. So you'll get a feel here for how the heading styles can actually change and look a little bit different, and you can assign them without having to remember what the style is. It's all programmed for you in these heading menus. Now to continue running through your options, you've got underline, you've got justification options. You know, I can either right, center, or left justify the selected item. And another important thing here that I want you to realize is that if you copy content from another source, what you don't want to do is copy it and just paste it right into your document or right into your page. Because what you'll do is you'll bring in HTML codes that are going to potentially mess up the styling and the formatting of your page. So if you do bring in a little bit of content, let me go ahead and just grab a bit of content just from CNN, a publicly available site. We're going to copy in a little bit of this content from a news story just to use as sample verbiage. Now that could have been copied from Microsoft Word, from anywhere. The main thing that you want to do is copy this in as text. It'll copy it in clean with no formatting. So rather than just doing edit paste or hitting Control V to paste it in, you want to take one extra step. We want to hit on this little clipboard, paste as plain text, and then Control V to bring in that bit of text, and then insert. And what this does is, again, it brings it in nice and clean. There's no HTML content behind it that's going to mess up your formatting and cause it to not format as you would expect. So it's a nice clean way to work. Okay. Now, we've run through the basic options here, and you'll investigate, and as your needs become more particular, you may find an option here that you've never seen before. But with this little run through, you should be able to edit pages within WordPress very simply. The main thing is to remember that you have all of these formatting options at the top, and you may need to go out and create another piece of content, add a document to the media library, a picture to the media library, add a document to WP Filebase. You may need to create a slide deck. You can do all kinds of things and then insert them into the page. When you're ready to save, notice that the first time you save your page, the option says publish. After this, it's going to be update from that point forward because it will be a published page. Now, you can save it as a draft if you'd like. If you're working on a page and you're not ready to make it visible, save draft is perfectly fine. It will save it. It's just not publicly available as yet. But we're going to go ahead and publish this one for today. So let's hit publish. And depending on the size of the page, it may take a little bit longer than this to actually publish. But now this is a live page. It's not yet on your menus. We'll run through that in a different option, but it is actually a live page which is available, and you can know that it's published by seeing the option right here. Status is published, and the button says update. And again, once it's been published, it's going to go into a status where from that point forward, it's an update, not a publish. Now, to put this forward on your menus is another step, and we'll cover that in a different video. But for now, we've run you through the basic options of working with pages.